I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
You are listening to Accidentally Casual, the gaming podcast where nerdiness isn't accidental at all. My name is Minius of Minius GC, and with me are my co-hosts Tucker from Talking About Games.
Do you know what was accidental? That stumbling you just had with the first try with the intro.
And Scott from BioWare Babbling.
Oh, I like the original, how we did it better. You just hitting that hard wall.
It won't be out of the podcast. That's just perfect for the end. We're already taken care of, so I don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
And Tucker, you can pretend to behave for the whole podcast.
I don't have to pretend. I am a well-adjusted human being.
Bullshit. God.
Wow. That's the most bogus thing you've ever said on this podcast.
Oh, God. Shooting. Man.
All right, so this week we have a very specific topic. We're looking at... Actually, hold on. A couple more things. First, because it's important to talk about the Discord channel that you can go to, right?
Yes.
There's a link in the description box.
And, dude, there's something I'm learning with the Discord channel. A lot of these people are artistically talented in incredible ways.
And they're way more artistically, visually talented than me, and I get slightly uncomfortable with that.
I love it.
I'm supposed to
really
be
cool.
good, and I'm not. I know I'm not.
What do you mean you're supposed to be good at it? Everyone has their own talents, Minius.
I have a YouTube channel.
So?
It's supposed to be visually artistic. Isn't that what it is?
If that's what you're going for.
I mean, should I go for intentionally unartistic?
Well, it depends on if the artistic approach of it is what you're going for. Like, I don't go for artistic, I go for information. I try to make sure that that is the main focus of it, and then all that other stuff comes second, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Shouldn't it be everything?
See,
I mean, you
my
put pressure
problem
on
is,
everything.
at least for my channel, is the fact that all the artistic stuff I let artists handle because I can't draw or do any of that stuff to save my life. So it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll let other people draw my logo and avatars. It's fine. That's what I've done so far, and it's worked great.
All right, so you have a question, you can go to the Discord or email us at accidentallycasual@gmail.com. But this week, we're going to chat about upcoming games. Some people like being excited about upcoming games, and then some people don't.
Wait, some people don't like being excited about upcoming games?
I think Babito was the one who came on. They're like, I don't want to be excited for upcoming games because you get disappointed a lot. It's also,
Fair.
but it is a lot less fun to not be excited for them.
Yeah,
well, I think that's just more of temper your expectations. Like, you can be excited for something. Like, It's okay. It's okay to be optimistic.
Looking at these,
Just temper it.
I don't know if I'm excited, but I'm definitely interested in playing. So these are just games that if you're a Mass Effect fan, you might enjoy, or it might be relevant to what you're doing, what you like.
Oh wow, really? Some on my list are games I've never even touched, or like series I've never touched before.
So what made you? Never mind. We'll get to that as we go.
Well, because I know that my interests are different from other people's interests.
It's true. You and I don't have many video game series in common that we like.
I know, and
which is so weird.
This includes with you, Scott, too. That's what makes all of us special. We are all unique individuals with our own personalities and interests, and that is what works with the podcast, is because we're all coming in with those different perspectives, and it works.
I feel so shoehorned into this. I don't know how I feel.
No, Scott, I love you like a brother.
Wait, excuse me, what?
All right, so I came up with 5. One of which we've already talked about the show. How many do you guys have?
3.
I'm still adding some right now.
3, still adding some. Try not to go too much for 5. I'm going to try to keep these podcasts to 120 or 80 minutes, so I can put 2 of them on the audio feed, which I haven't been able to do. There is an audio version of this podcast, but I'm limited to 3 hours, and we talk forever. So
yeah, we kind of do.
Yeah. Wonder why.
All right. So this is a prompt. I'm always looking for new games that I would be excited for as a Mass Effect fan. We had the tournament where we talked about recommendations for Mass Effect fans, and there are very few games that hit exactly what you're looking for as a Mass Effect fan.
Well,
so this is actually quite
very
difficult.
Open-ended question. You're asking like, what is the interest? Are they interested in the story, in the theme?
There's a bunch of different things.
The character development, like, you know.
I'm not being super serious about what we need to. I mean, we're just looking for games that people might enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going for. So this is prompted because we were talking a bit about Outriders, which is going to come out at the beginning of next month. And that was to be on my list, but we've talked about it enough already. Really, your interest there is only if you liked the gameplay of Mass Effect 3 and the multiplayer version of it. I don't think you'll get a lot more out of it if you're way into the characters and the relationships and stuff like that. But anyway, who wants to go first?
Well, a game that I'm surprised we haven't mentioned yet would be Hogwarts Legacy.
What?
Yeah, I feel like that one would interest.
All right, Tucker's going first.
So why would that interest a Mass Effect fan?
It's a heavy RPG-based game just set in the Harry Potter universe. I can see Mass Effect fans and also being fans of Harry Potter. That being sort of a generational type thing, as well as that fantasy or theme. I mean, while Mass Effect it is sci-fi and all that kind of stuff, you know, it's still that world building because that's what I like about Harry Potter and Mass Effect is the world that is built.
Mm-hmm.
So Hogwarts Legacy, which I don't think it's supposed to be this year. I
believe they officially pushed it to next year.
Okay, yeah, but
so
yeah, I can
2026.
see a lot of, especially with the I think it's rumors or it's something like that you know you're going to be able to focus on how you as a student, if you do Defense Against the Dark Arts or if you want to do more potions or something like that you know it's kind of like building your own Shepard in Mass Effect of how you want to play them. It's just now you got a pokey stick.
How much have they actually gotten into that with what they're going to try to do?
I think very little.
So yeah, that's one of the things, like my most anticipated game for a Mass Effect fan, I know absolutely nothing about.
Oh, well, that one wasn't my most anticipated. That was the one I just happened to
That's
scroll
just the
right
one
by.
you
That was a
scroll
good
by.
example.
We have talked about it in the podcast, though. I think you mentioned that as one of your most anticipated games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm
coming
contemplating getting a Harry Potter tattoo. But
You're going to have Expelliarmus somewhere inappropriate?
nah, just thinking of like a tattoo of a wand or
How
something from
many-
a character.
How many people you think have that tattoo?
I don't know. I know.
More
Would be
than I'm
better if
comfortable
Expecto
with.
Patronum, like, you know, down your region.
To my Patronum. Jesus. I have a customer at the place I work. He actually has the Death Eater mark on him.
Ooh.
Which is cool. Like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then you realize that, wait, in context, that's like the Nazi symbol
Yeah.
That's weird.
in the Harry Potter universe. And you're like,
That's weird.
should you have gotten a tattoo of that?
It's weird for a bunch of reasons, because I believe they would want to torture and like kill him for fun, because he's not a wizard.
He's a
Yeah.
muggle.
Yeah.
Unless he is a wizard, which
Gee
is
whiz.
even weirder.
I just finished going through the Harry Potter series again, and I feel weird about that there are parts with Voldemort's plan that I actually agree with. Like, the idea that wizards are superior to muggles. It's like, yes, they are. They can do magic.
That is
Like-
kind of weird that they all the wizards live in hiding in that universe, and
Right?
they probably
I
shouldn't.
mean, it's like out of a kindness type of thing.
They
and-
probably would just come out and whoop everyone's ass.
See, I'm thinking about that. Like, oh, yeah, they would. And then I think, oh, no, that would not end well for them. Because it's like, I think about, like...
I'm looking at history. Wouldn't it just work out the same way as Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, or like whatever those two were? That
See, I think it depends on what type. Like, I think
wouldn't magic just
the
Okay, so
problem
you-
is humans might... The biggest issue is it might actually be that Muggles would outnumber the wizards. So now
they can
it's
do
like...
magic!
Well, yeah, but... Well, what I'm saying is, pound per pound they can do more, but if they are so, like, completely outnumbered, you're kind of screwed. And another thing to maybe think about as well is, if it's in the age of firearms, yeah, no, wizards don't have a fucking chance.
What are they,
What
they
do
got
you
freezing
mean?
spells and stuff.
They have.
Yeah,
First of all,
except here's the
This has
problem.
gone horribly wrong already.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so
yeah.
we're talking about games that Mass
Actually,
Effect fans should be interested in. So you're going with Hogwarts Legacy?
One more thing I want to mention on that, though, is something I was also
Tucker,
thinking of,
oh, come on.
is that, so Harry Potter and this other game and so on all take place in the past. You know, the past eventually comes up to the present, which leads to the future. So,
Is that how
you
it
know,
works?
there would be magicians or, like, wizards and stuff in space. Like, there could be a wizard on the ISS.
When does for the new Harry Potter game, where does it take place in the
1800s.
timeline? Does it like take place
It's like-
during like
100-something years before the events of Harry Potter.
Oh, so that's even before shit, that-
Grindelwald and
Yeah,
I think even
that's-
Dumbledore maybe.
No, that's Dumbledore would probably Dumbledore would be
That's part of
around.
what's really exciting is it feels like it's a whole new world that can be built in that universe while already still being so familiar.
Yeah.
I feel like the Mass Effect connection could be a stretch unless you really have a lot of control over your character and your house and your direction, which is possible.
I have faith.
All right, should I go or Scott's going to go with his things?
I'll go. My first one, I'll leave my easiest pick for last. Is actually first one I'm actually thinking fans might actually really like is the remaster for Diablo II. Mainly coming. My arguments for it are mainly the fact that if you look at, you have the remastered trilogy coming out, which will kind of more or less modernize your experience with the trilogy. I think it will do the same thing for Diablo 2. That you can kind of explore a classic that in a more modern friendly context, and then you can more focus on why those games became popular. Ironically enough, a lot of the reasons why Tucker talked about Harry Potter is the same reasons for me, where it's like, if you want...
Oh yeah, that just adds validity to my point.
Yeah, if you want, like, great world building, great characters, like a world that you really can get immersed into and get lost in, Diablo is kind of is really good for that, I would say. And Diablo 2 is, one of the best RPGs out there. It's kind of weird because it definitely focuses more on the looter side of things.
Yeah.
And it's almost similar to Skyrim, where for a lot of it you almost headcanon and head role play a lot of your character and stuff like that, versus like with Shepard and
which is very, very laid out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so while there's a little bit different there, I think people, fans would, a lot of like Mass Effect fans would really get into that, that style of gameplay for sure. So I'm going to say Diablo 2 is mine. And also, it's one of my favorite games. So.
Oh, there you go. Now you have to anticipate it.
Yeah.
How many hours are you going to resync into that game?
I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know how ready I am to.
Because I remember that being really grindy.
It really wasn't. It's one of those games where you can just go. I think maybe what you may have gotten mixed up with is the fact that it has such insane replayability value that it can. People can feel that it's grindy, but it's like, nah, man, you can just replay that game over and over and over again.
I am not using that as a criticism.
Oh, okay.
I actually like really grindy games.
Okay.
But I never felt like Mass Effect was grindy.
No, man, no, it never really
Maybe
did.
the multiplayer was grindy, but that's... Yeah, no, I actually like I love diving into grindy games. Not all the time, but I do. I do love it, so... Yeah, that one is on my radar. I was concerned that we would have the exact same games coming in.
Oh,
And
I
now
made sure to not do that.
Okay, well, I I suppose that's true. Now I'm not sure we have any of the games in common, which is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that game is out already. Diablo. I'm just kidding, because it's a remaster. Mine, I cheated too on the first of my list. I'm putting these in order of when I think they're going to come out. This one is actually coming out this month on the 30th. It's the final cut for Disco Elysium.
Okay.
Which it came out last year, the original thing, mostly text-based. This is fully voiced, which really lends itself into, hey, if you're a Mass Effect fan, what is Mass Effect known for the most? Dialogue.
Voice actor.
Dialogue options.
Yeah.
That's what this game is.
I mean,
Although
shit, Michael Laidlaw has a patent on it, on the dialogue wheel. That is a patent of his.
Is it patented?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. The patent is under his name and BioWare's name.
Interesting.
Now, as someone who knows nothing really about that game, does changing the text to voice, is that a beneficial thing to it? Because if you were to add voice in Half-Life or something, that would take away from
what it does. And I intentionally didn't play the first version because I wanted to wait to try to play things on console, because I like playing things with a controller when I can. And I'm really happy that I waited, because I love listening to stuff. Okay. And that's generally my number one. And so I prefer listening over reading, and that's why that's super ideal for me. I don't know what the superior experience would be, though. I think it depends on your preference.
I mean, that absolutely makes sense. I mean, there's a whole reason why I go through Audible rather than reading books. But there's some times where if it's text-based, you can do the voices yourself in the head, or you have your own sort of way of it being said. And I didn't know if that's something that maybe gets taken away, or... the upcoming Lego Star Wars game has a feature where you can turn dialogue off, because the original Lego Star Wars games didn't have dialogue. And it was just mumbling. And so,
I just think from a Mass Effect standpoint, though, the dialogue's a huge plus.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're getting into. So this is a very fat, long RPG with, old school gaming mechanics like dice rolls.
Are there any big voice actors that are popping in?
I don't think so, but there's definitely over 1 million words in it. So from that standpoint, you're like, huh.
It doesn't need to be a big person to be done well. Just didn't know if they were.
Yeah, I mean, there's options and stuff like that. So it's not an action game anymore. It's cyberpunk detective game.
Uh-huh.
Which, by the way, this game has been refused classification in Australia for drug use.
Man, Australia has really got some issues with games.
They really do.
The script that I'm going through with the controversial games, it's almost getting redundant to saying, this game is banned in Australia and so on. When
they don't trust the people there at all.
It's not.
I guess they really feel like kids are going to watch this and become raging alcoholics.
Well, what's
in
also
a murder
really
mystery.
And they're not just strict about entertainment and so on. If you've ever seen if you're flying into New Zealand or Australia, customs or something, man, that you will get fined for bringing in an apple. You have to claim an apple, and if they find you bringing in an apple, they can fine you.
What's so weird about that is that the Australians I've talked to are so casual, so casual, and that their government sounds so strict, crazy strict. For any of the, quote, Western nations.
Well, you know how Australia kind of started, right?
The same way America kind of started as a prison colony.
Yeah. Especially if you're talking about, the South region. Which, fun fact, that is actually why the British accent and the Southern accent are so similar. Is because that's where Britain would send a lot of their prisoners, to the...
Oh, I thought you were meaning the southern part of Australia.
Yeah, if you're looking at a lot of the phonetics of how how the accents operate, there are a lot of similarities, and it's because of that lineage from Britain into they would send prisoners and stuff like that to the south, and then obviously with isolation and stuff like that, they evolved separately.
I've never connected those two accents.
Oh yeah, it's something that those two should not connect. And then when you think about it, and especially from the linguistics point of view, Oh, yeah, no, the two are totally connected.
Something that's fun to think about, and I don't know if I brought this up on the podcast before, but I'm just once we start colonizing places like the moon and Mars, stuff like that, we're going to have the moon accent or Mars accent.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. That depends on how connected people are with.
I think gravity might have some effect. Like the difference of gravity might have a.
Do you think they'll all get high pitched? I really hope so.
Dude, I don't know. There's much smarter people than I am that probably have this figured out, but I'm sure it affects it in some manner.
Totally made that up.
Hey guys,
Absolutely.
I'm
Something
from
I
Mars.
am not making up, though, is this next game that is going to be the best recommendation game. Y'all can already put down your games. This is called a Boyfriend Dungeon. And it is a dungeon crawler dating sim game where you date your weapons. If that doesn't scream Mass Effect fans, nothing else does.
When do you date your weapon in Mass Effect?
No, but the Mass Effect community is really... BioWare fans are horny in general. That cannot
They are
be
into
denied.
those dating sims. And
Hold
this
on. What's the game called again?
Boyfriend Dungeon is coming out this year on PC and Nintendo Switch. And it's just you. It's a dungeon crawler, isometric from what these pictures look like. And it's you. There's characters, and they have all their likes and dislikes, and you go through the dungeons, and you create a bond with your weapon, and you can get money and such that you can actually take your weapon out on a date and stuff. And there's normal characters that you'd expect, and then there's Cat, which I don't know about dating sim if that is maybe a normal character that you'd expect. But there's all different stuff like that. One character's a K-pop idol. So, that game is one that Mass Effect fans probably don't know about. This may be their first time hearing of it, and now they're adding it to their list.
I guess so. Yeah, no, I could see Mass Effect fans get into that.
Yeah. Okay, here's one thing.
I find that creepy, but that's okay.
One idea I do have, I kind of want to know how into dating sims is the Mass Effect fans. I feel like
how much of a crossover is that?
Yeah, because a part of me thinks that there isn't going to be one. Especially if I think of the demographics of kind of what a lot of Mass Effect fans are. But I'm thinking I know definitely if you jump over to the side to Dragon Age fans, there seems to be a little bit more openness about doing dating sims and stuff like that. And so I'm just really fascinated. Okay, what is that overlap of dating sims and Mass Effect fans?
I think that there are lots of types of Mass Effect fans.
That's true.
And so there's a certain faction who are into the romance, and they'd all be there.
Yeah.
Where I personally, that was never my number one draw for Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
It was the world that they created, the sci-fi world.
Different strokes for different folks, though.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, that was the one part about why these games are so spread out about what they are. Like there's so many interests that Mass Effect fans have, and they're not all the same. So you'll get something like there's going to be games on here that won't appeal to you, even if you are a Mass Effect fan, but may appeal to a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah. I think that's one thing as well that kind of just to give credit to Mass Effect is that Mass Effect does so many different things, and it does it so well that, you do have fans who fall in love with the franchises for completely different reasons. And
that's with every successful franchise. I mean, you say the same thing about Star Wars or Star Trek. Say the same thing about Halo or Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you can say that, but I think there's almost a certain amount, a point where it goes a little bit even further than that. For something that you would expect something very niche, that you would expect that would take for something that would have so much of a niche, you would think that, within that niche people are here for that specific reason. Yet there seems to be a huge, wide-ranging appeal of it that I feel like it's something different than what can be attributed to most franchises, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Should we go to your next game?
Sure.
You had two ones, and then one that is so obvious you were embarrassed with, which is my fault.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I'll start with the next one for me. Again, another Diablo game. It's going to be Diablo IV.
What? I feel like you're cheating.
I'm noticing
now.
a pattern.
I'm 100%. Yes, I am cheating. Minius, when I said,
And then
I'm looking at the lists and the only thing I could get hyped for was fucking Diablo, I wasn't kidding.
The idea wasn't what you're hyped for, but yeah, okay, if those are the only ones you're hyped for, okay.
Yeah, well, it's just like going through the list, and it's like, okay, I might find this, but then I just like kept on getting drawn back to Diablo. The funny thing is, I kind of almost see Diablo is in a similar situation as Mass Effect is, where it's in a community where, it's kind of in a state where we're not sure where the future is gonna go. And it's after the main trilogy of games have released, and after the third game came out to massive controversy, and now the next game is going to take place kind of in a sequel that we're not 100% sure on. I think we're a little bit more certain of the direction of like where Diablo is going. Mainly just because of the release trailer brought up the main villain, who is fucking fantastic and a great direction to go with. Who, to you, the uninitiated, the next villain is going to be a character named Flemeth. Or no, not Flemeth. Shit.
That's an awesome
Lilith.
Oh, no!
Lilith. I don't know why my brain jumped that way, but it's Lilith, who is a huge part of the lore in Diablo, and is really awesome that they're bringing her into it. So, I think that it can scratch enough of the itches that you kind of see in Mass Effect, or you could see with Mass Effect fans, that I think Diablo 4 should be on your radar as well.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. So, like, you like Diablo the way Tucker likes Halo, apparently.
Yeah.
See, the problem is, I also like Halo, like Tucker likes Halo.
Because you're a man of culture.
Yes, indubitably.
I've played way more Diablo than Halo. Mm-hmm. But
I would say I've played more Halo than Diablo as well.
Interesting.
It's one of those things where it's like, the best way I can describe it is, honestly, it has such a great like story and world to it that even though I haven't played it as much as people would probably think, like I've only done one playthrough of Diablo 2. Yet I will fucking hype the Diablo series so much because of how amazing the lore is in just the world that I'll freaking hype it up. It's just I don't have time to have my soul sucked away into another long-term franchise. It's already bad enough as it is.
Speaking of world and story, that's the next game on my list, which is a sequel to a game that you guys haven't played and might eventually. It's Horizon Forbidden West.
I played kind of Horizon, the first one-ish.
The first, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is the game that came out first, and made it to our final in the Mass Effect recommendation tournament. That game really, really reminded me of the original Mass Effect in its story, where it's got twists and turns and a heavy sci-fi element. And so, hey, it's a sequel to that. Yeah, and that seems very obvious to be on the list.
Is this coming out on PC? Because the first one, they released that on PC, not at first. That came out later. Is this one coming out on launch on PC, or is it only a PlayStation exclusive?
I expect that, I know for sure that this will be only a PlayStation exclusive first. And then they'll come out on PC later.
They're doing the Rockstar approach.
It's the Sony approach. The whole idea is to get you.
Well, the Sony approach is to not put it on PC.
Yeah, the
Rockstar approach is to launch it and put it on PC later.
The whole idea with Sony's exclusives is to get you to buy the next PlayStation.
Yeah,
and then games there. Stay there. I am concerned from, like, if you're looking at this from a pure Mass Effect fan direction, I don't think this game will continue in that thing. I think it'll concentrate more on the terrestrial, broken down world of Earth, which is not in the vein of Mass Effect. So the same things that made, at least, I mean, I don't know where they can go with that to keep the sci-fi elements heavy. Would
you not say that Mass Effect 2 was not a world builder upon the Mass Effect universe
it was,
in a much more expansive way than the first one?
But it's a universe expander. I mean, you're going over the whole galaxy, and you will not be doing that in this game.
It's the story told along the way. It's the friends that we make along the way.
I'm just talking about from the elements that made Horizon Zero Dawn like the original Mass Effect. I expect this one will not be at all like Mass Effect 2 or 3. This is a whole expectation, and that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. In fact, I think out of all the games I have on this list, that's the most likely one to be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it may not be 100% in on Mass Effect, but, I mean, more Mass Effect fans are into that than a lot of the other series that we've mentioned so far. So I expect that game was already on your list, and I didn't need to tell you about it.
That's also, I think, the only one on the list with an actual release date.
All right. So I gotta be...
Well, Disco Elysium is going to be out on the 30th of March.
Right.
So, the final cut, at least. But Forbidden West does not have a release date.
Oh, I thought it did.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come out this year, but that is not like 100% in stone.
So I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Minius. I was looking through the list, I saw that, and I looked at it, and I went, no, that can't be the same Horizon. No, that's not the same one. I'll
Interesting. So did the naming confuse you? Do you need a 2 on it or something?
I don't know, man.
No, I'm asking out of curiosity because they're doing, like, normally these titles will have like colons and then the second thing.
Yeah.
And they specifically didn't do that, so I was wondering if there would be any confusion towards that.
I don't think it was that. Because it's like, I knew it's like, that name looked super familiar. I think it was literally just a brain fart. I think that's all it was. It was just like, wait, that looks super familiar. Wait, is that the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn?
I think all you need is, like, some robot dinosaurs, which are never robot dinosaurs. I love when you get into that, like, it looks crazy and bizarre, and they have a legitimate reason for all that stuff happening and those creatures existing, which I did not expect at all coming in, and I did not expect it to be that well thought out, and that much of a twist and, like, a actual having something to say, and that's the core of that game. I do, like, that is still that one's my most recommended game, and I suppose that makes this the most upcoming one.
Yeah.
Recommended game.
I think one cool thing to kind of talk about, I think Horizon Zero Dawn did kind of well, piggybacking off what you said. Mass Effect kind of does this, but I don't think they do it as much, or aren't as reliant on it. Very much with, like, Horizon Zero Dawn, the story of that has a central message and a central theme. And it's funny because, like, there are some there are kind of some of those in Mass Effect, but not very many.
Yeah, no, it's more abstract.
Yeah. Which I kind of find is a little interesting, and I'm wondering, and I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna, if they will go in a direction in the future where they do tackle a more central theme or something like that.
You know, it's really, they can go in so many directions with this game. It's really unclear.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So that's actually something to people like Mass Effect. You knew where it was going. The Reapers are coming. You're gonna have to deal with that. This one, I'm not so sure. There's a central theme of you trying to activate an AI, but there's so much stuff in the way that who knows if you'll ever get there.
Without it getting too spoilery, is there like a singular big bad in Horizon Zero Dawn, or is it more like a environmental big bad, or
is somebody
an apocalyptic event?
There is someone who has a plan that you're trying to stop.
Okay.
And minions. So yeah. At some point, I would get. It's probably too long, fucker, for you to play it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing so much Red Dead this week. I've been enjoying that so much.
All right, Tucker, what is your next game?
So the next game is one that y'all were probably excited for, but forgot was coming out, and that is Fable 4.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because, I mean...
I am so impressed that we have no crossover so far. I'm
right?
so impressed. Like, I was completely expecting all of us to name the same games. This is great.
Nah. But yeah, so Fable 4, I mean, there hasn't been a Fable game since Fable 3, and that was what? 2010? 2009?
Yeah, I think it's something like
that.
Yeah.
But there was supposed to be that one game, Fable Legends, that was this asymmetrical game that I absolutely loved the premise of. That was 4 heroes in third-person perspective fighting through waves that the, kind of like a dungeon master or something, would set up the encounters of, like, the monsters and the traps and stuff, and the heroes had to get through that to the final boss. But that got canceled because Lionhead or Lionheart Studios got shut down. And so now they announced Fable 4, and I think all they have of it is just a little bit of a CGI trailer, and maybe a little tidbit of news here and there, but I don't think there's any announcement of the years coming out or anything like that, but I just feel like, just the RPG aspect of it, as well as the popularity of the Fable franchise earlier, that is one that Mass Effect fans or BioWare fans would put on their radar.
I wonder how many, we've talked about this before, how many Mass Effect fans are also fantasy fans?
I'm sure a decent...
Yeah, probably a decent amount. I love fantasy games a lot, but
because
not all sci-fi people are into that.
Like, is it the world building? Because, there could be people that specifically like the sci-fi because of the sci-fi of either with robots, aliens, something like that. Some people may like it fantasy because it's specifically fantasy of, like, wizards. But, the world building or the characters, or sometimes it just may not even really matter about the genre. It's just, do they enjoy it? Does our animal brain enjoy this? Yes.
Do you know anything about the studio making that?
I think it's Playground Games.
Creators of the Forza Horizon series. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've also been actually very much enjoying Forza Horizon 4 past few weeks. I've never really played racing games much besides the occasional Need for Speed or something like that. I've always felt the kind of thing of the racing games don't change much, but Forza Horizon 4 was on Game Pass, downloaded that, and damn, I've been enjoying that. Just open world driving in that game. But I feel for the European gamers, because that game takes place in, I can't remember where, someplace where they drive on the opposite side of the street, where we do in America.
In the United Kingdom.
I was going to say UK, but I felt like that was wrong, and that was going to be the American thing to just guess the UK's. But they drive on the other side of the road, and that throws me off. So I can absolutely
I had some driving games like that where they're set in Japan, and I had the same issue.
But yeah, so whenever any people who drive on just the other side of the road that we do, if they're ever playing a game, that's got to throw them off too.
Probably.
I imagine so, yeah.
And even though the first game that comes to mind is GTA, but GTA, Rockstar is not in America.
I thought they were in New York.
No, isn't Rockstar...
The founders moved here, from what I remember, but then I could be completely wrong, because I'm not as up on that.
I thought Rockstar was
It's founded by British guys who moved to the United States.
Maybe that was it.
I think, I was about to say, I think Rockstar is in the United... Yeah, is...
Oh, it is
based
New York.
out of the United States, yeah.
And what was I thinking of? Because it wasn't CD Projekt Red. Because I know they're out, but I could have sworn Rockstar maybe has a studio or something that is
they
out.
definitely, I think they had a bunch of studios and now they don't.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's where I'm getting a little confused with. Yeah, they do. They have studios in London, UK, or Scotland, England. Yeah, they have one in India.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Also, I believe India, they drive on that other. Actually, I'm not 100% sure of that. I thought it was just the UK
they'll
and-
drive. I mean, when my brother went to India, he said that they would drive on the sidewalks. Like
Aren't
everything's
they-
a road there.
Everything's like clogged, so they have to.
My brother also had a terrifying story of he was driving and he saw this car. It was just like this kind of road he was going by, going back to like the hotel he was at, and there was a car on its side and two people just lying in the road, and my brother wasn't exactly sure, and instead of stopping right then, he pulled around him and pulled in front and was going to stop the car and look behind him. And when he did that, the people that were on the ground got up and were looking at the car he was in, and other people got out of some of the bushes or something that were in the area. So my brother just like booked it. He's like, nope. Went out.
Get out of the bushes?
Yeah, like it was people like faking an accident or something,
Oh,
so people would
okay.
stop the car to either steal the car or just mug them or something.
Jesus.
All right, Scott, turn our frown upside down with your next game.
All right, so this game is the one that's embarrassing for me to think about, because why the fuck didn't I think of it in the first place? It's the franchise that actually won the recommendation tournament, Dragon Age 4. Honestly, if you like Mass Effect, you probably are gonna like Dragon Age. It's just really fantasy, you know. I think honestly the big difference is it's probably a little bit more inclusive than Mass Effect, though I wouldn't say that's much more of a depends on your point of view. And
I don't think they have any Turians in that game. I'll call that exclusive. Like they're just. I didn't see a single Quarian.
Yeah, there's not a
Those
single...
racists.
There are Krogans, though. There is a Krogan.
Here's a theory that... So, at the end... So, with Mass Effect 4, it's showing that, you know, the destroy ending is kind of appears to be canon, that they're going with that. So, what if that... Because everything's starting over, like, they don't have the technology, all that stuff kind of got wiped out. Anything above a toaster is gone. That, you know, it's them going through, trying to, like, get civilization back and so on, and that is Dragon Age.
That
is Dragon Age, even though looking like...
There is actually a theory out there stating that...
Oh, is there? Oh, that makes this more boring, then.
Well, I mean, first
sorry
of all,
for stumbling.
Tucker, they've already confirmed spaceships in the next Mass Effect game, so your theory kind of has a big hole in it.
Dragon Age could be, like, thousands of years later, something like that.
So,
but Liara is still alive somehow.
There is So the funny thing is, there is actually a Mass Effect... or there's Dragon Age Mass Effect theory that they actually do share a same universe.
Isn't like the planet or something?
Yeah, there is a planet that essentially has a moon that is almost identical to the one that you see in Dragon Age. And there's some people who argue that, oh, we found this planet because, you know, in Thetis they have this crack, or like this deep canyon that you can see from space, and they're arguing that's what this is, and that like Dragon Age took place thousands of years before Mass Effect, and that all the like power and like all of the magic in Dragon Age is just, you know, color-coded biotics, which
I see a lot of people who really defend that theory. And I always felt like that was more of a nod than a connection.
Yeah, no, that definitely felt more of a nod.
I also wouldn't be surprised where they're just like, hey Bob, do you think if you notice I took an asset, the moon asset from the Dragon Age team, and I put it in
possible.
There? Do you think anyone would notice? $10, they don't. Sure, deal. They shake on it.
Someone lost $10.
Someone lost $10, and then had to go through the rampant theories that came about, and that was their first soiree into, holy shit, BioWare fans are crazy.
So I like this. It wasn't on my list, but I kind of felt that like if we didn't mention the next Dragon Age game, that we'd be missing out. Even if you're not a Dragon Age fan, this game should interest you simply to see how it does.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want to say that BioWare's future depends on if it fails or not, because that is literally what has been said for the last 2 games. And BioWare's still doing fine.
Really? I don't remember anyone saying that about Andromeda.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a spin-off studio. No one's like this is going to determine the future of them.
I would say maybe not within, and this is more coming from like the fan perspective from back then. Would I say like within like the core of like BioWare / Dragon Age and Mass Effect content creators, was there the circle of like, oh, well, BioWare, Andromeda, they're going to have to get Andromeda right, or the company might fall. Was that being said within like the inner circle, like the circle of like BioWare content creators? No, but were there other content creators, like the larger ones, kind of like Young Yao or like Angry Joe and stuff like that? Yeah, they were saying that type of shit. They had been, granted, they've been saying that shit for years. And
this time I feel like it's true, though.
I mean, it depends, and I know we've kind of talked about this, Minius, in the past, of like, how well financially is BioWare doing? Because at this point we have conjecture, and that's about it.
Yeah, the EA numbers are very secret.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall profits are up. I just don't know where they're coming from. That's okay. I get confused with these video game numbers. Either way, I think from a standpoint of you're a Mass Effect fan, you want to see how BioWare's doing, you got to be paying attention to this game, at least somewhat.
Yeah, I also think one thing that's going to be very interesting with Dragon Age 4, this is going to be their first sequel with the Frostbite engine. Like, one of the big reasons why they went with the Frostbite engine was so then assets and technologies could be shared amongst their their franchises and stuff, and that should make development easier, mind you, in theory. But because that they've had to essentially, one, they had to get the engine to work, which is a pain in the ass in itself, and 2, the fact that none of the franchises that had a lot of overlap with each other where assets could be reused effectively and were all individually made from scratch kind of canned that whole idea. So it's going to be interesting with Dragon Age 4 now that it's using the Anthem code base, supposedly, and and they have a lot of the assets and technology and probably more experience with the Frostbite engine to see how much smoother of a process it is. Not to mention you do have, there was work done with, I think it was Project Joplin was the Dragon Age 4 project before the current one that is being worked on. There's who knows how many assets and stuff like that, or different technologies was produced from that's being reused. So, I'm hoping of all of the games to do well. I feel like Dragon Age 4 should have the best odds of doing well. That being said, it's gonna be one of those things where we'll have to wait for it to come out and see. I don't think it's something that we can really analyze our way out of to determine if it's going to be a good game or not.
Do you mean out of the games that BioWare's done?
Yeah, out of the games that BioWare has done. Yes.
Okay, I would agree with that. Yeah, it has. The last, I suppose, mostly successful game was a Dragon Age game.
Yeah, Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is one thing that's... There's a few things that also more generally annoy me when people say, like, oh, BioWare's going down, you know, oh, they haven't had a successful game. Hey, what about Inquisition? That was one of their best-selling games, and it's one game of the year. Oh, nope, doesn't count. Okay, what about their Star Wars, The Old Republic MMO, that is still popular to this day, and has made them $1 billion in 8 years? Like, nope, that doesn't count? Okay, whatever.
I mean, in all fairness, those games did come out a while ago, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the one crazy thing is, you know, I think it's going to be almost 10 years since we've had a Dragon Age
Pre-controversy.
game. Huh?
It's pre-controversy, too. So it'll be like, how will that play out?
Wait,
Or how much will that have an effect?
yeah.
Which
Well,
which
you mean
controversy
post-
this time?
You mean
Just as in, like, Mass Effect Andromeda and...
Oh, you mean post-controversy.
Yeah.
Not pre. Pre is before.
Yeah. Yes,
Post is
yes.
after.
The pre... Yeah, I was saying the pre ones were successful, and now we're seeing, like, how Dragon Age 4 and stuff will do. It's like, well, this is also post-controversy, so it's going to be...
Yeah.
People are coming in a bit more sour.
Yeah.
Although-
Yeah. 100%. You know, people...
Dragon Age Inquisition was after the Mass Effect 3 controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know which games
Mm-hmm.
the order was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a controversy.
Yeah. But that's just gaming.
Well, and especially with
or
freaking the
entertainment.
news outlets, especially with Jason Schreier, I swear to God, Jason Schreier disguises himself as an intern at BioWare, sits in the employee lounge, and just fucking eavesdrops on everything, and that's how he actually knows so much about BioWare.
You think that's a fake picture and fake name?
Yeah, no, he just, like, wears, like, the glasses with a mustache attached to it.
I hope he does exactly that.
And just sits there and writes stuff down. I'm just like, oh, so there's a screaming room, you say. Right. And then they're just like, and then whenever and the reason why they're so sporadic and when they come out is because of the fact that eventually BioWare catches wind of, like, God damn it, Jason got in here again! What the fuck? How does he keep on getting in?
Next time he comes in with a huge sombrero and they don't recognize him.
They have a thing on the billboards, like how many days since Jason Schreier has broken in.
I just pictured the guy with the sombrero like, oh, that's a completely different person.
Yeah, and the best
Isn't
part
like-
is, especially in fucking Edmonton, where it's just like, please explain to me why a sombrero would be anywhere helpful in fucking Edmonton of all places. But yeah, nope, that's how it just, with a poncho and a sombrero, and just like, yeah, no, I'm totally here interning. Right.
All right, so my next game, I'm a little surprised nobody's gotten to because it's also fairly obvious. We know almost nothing about it other than it exists. Is Starfield. Now,
I guess
Microsoft.
you could also toss in the next Elder Scrolls as well with that recommendation.
Well, no, Starfield's way more of a better recommendation because it's set in space. Literally.
Yeah, but I feel like they'll play the same.
They might, and this game is coming out way before that one, supposedly. Although,
who the fuck knows at this
And
point?
it's coming only to places where Game Pass is accessible.
That's right. They
what
$7.5 billion acquisition from Microsoft.
Microsoft might buy Discord.
Yeah, for too much money. I don't know where this money's coming from.
Joke's on them, though. We can just download Discord for free.
God,
So the basically the idea there is that you play it's Skyrim or Fallout in space on different planets. Mm-hmm. So if it's anything like that, I think that's really close to the most Mass Effect game that we've talked about so far.
yeah,
I mean, I think it'll even take it a step further of the Mass Effect game that people want to have that full. Like if you, I mean, in a more limited sense, if it's planet to planet, maybe if it's not like I don't know, system to system. But if it is as detailed as a game like Skyrim or Fallout or any of those, that, you know, that's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I think they're having problems with it, and they certainly haven't showed anything other than a teaser trailer, and that's it. And when did they show that teaser trailer? It was like 3 years ago, right? Or at least 2 years ago.
It was last E3, not the
Was it?
pandemic E3, but the last.
You sure?
One, I think.
I'm gonna have to look this up, and I feel like I should have known that. But it's been a while. I swear
no,
it's been.
it wasn't at E3. It was at a Bethesda. No, it was a Bethesda conference at
Bethesda's 2018 teaser trailer is the only thing we've seen. 2018.
So that was 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been almost 3 years. So I mean, like, I assume this game's still in development. It's got all kinds of potential and written all over it. We just haven't seen anything of it.
Do you think now with Microsoft buying Bethesda, we're going to start seeing more of it?
Depends on how ready it is at all. And like I remember looking at this and I haven't seen anything solid, but they were having issues with their engine, which is a very Bethesda thing.
Well, remember also how Fallout 4 got announced and then released. It was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that.
That might have been the plan. I think that's a good plan too.
I specifically remember also with Fallout 4 that there was an issue that the trailers or stuff were put on, or leaked gameplay was put on Pornhub, and they couldn't pull it down because they couldn't pull like copyright things on it or something with it. There was a specific issue with that, and I thought that was incredible.
I feel like
anyway, I'm feeling like that's something that people already know about too. Not your thing, Tucker. I'm talking about the Starfield game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Maybe not Starfield, but they know that the next Elder Scrolls game is coming up, and they probably suspect that. And there's another Fallout. Probably.
Well, this is supposed
or do you think this
to
is
be.
taking the place
This is
of
supposed
Fallout?
to be the next game.
But do you think this is going to take the place of Fallout, or do you think that we will still get another Fallout game?
I think they'll add it to the rotation, assuming that it works out. But at this point, we don't know a lot about it other than potentially, Skyrim, Fallout in space. I mean, that sounds great. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work, but that sounds absolutely great. The only thing I'd be concerned of, and this is more of a personal opinion, is always felt the Bethesda games play a little bit clunky.
Yeah.
And if it plays a little bit clunky, I'll have an issue with it. That was my issue with Cyberpunk.
But you'll be able to play it third person.
But the third person, when it's designed to be first person, just doesn't quite feel right. So it's the same issue. Feel a little bit clunky.
I think the big also problem with it is while a lot of people may have Starfield on their mind, I think one of the biggest issues is just the fact that we know nothing about it. And it's like, oh yeah, no, Starfield looks dope.
Yeah, no, it's all in your imagination.
Yeah,
basically.
And that's all there is to the conversation. Like, oh yeah, I hope it's a good game.
I wonder if they renamed it like Tucker's boyfriend dungeon game.
Boyfriend dungeon?
And they're like, congrats, Starfield is now boyfriend dungeon or whatever.
Boyfriend dungeon in space.
All right, Tucker, do you have another one?
I do. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Pink.
Indigo?
Okay, so Eastward is it's a game that is coming out on PC and on the Switch. This is a kind of a pixelated art style, kind of like a 64 or just pixelated. I don't want to say isometric, but I don't feel like that's the right way to describe it. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic kind of world, but it is a dual character RPG where you play as one character named John, who is described as a digger, and a character named Sam, who is this girl that John must guide. So, maybe like a Last of Us kind of feeling with it. And it's described as an emotional journey where you're supposed to meet a lot of weird creatures or people in this dying world and kind of build relationships like that, or just like, figure out all that kind of stuff.
Okay, what's they're guiding just because the world's so messed up? The RPG aspect of it is, it's taking inspiration from
Japanese animation as well as its art style, so you could expect maybe it'll take some Japanese RPG elements as well, which Mass Effect fans enjoy. And
Coming soon.
Yeah. I don't think there's any release date with it. But
Yeah, that's the release date. Coming soon. Available. Coming soon.
But yeah, you're just going through the world, learning about it, conversating with different people.
So, are there conversations in it? Because that would automatically lock it up as something that people might be interested in.
Well, I mean, you talk with people that you find in the world, and you learn about it.
Okay. That's the first one I haven't really heard of. I think I heard of the
Boyfriend you heard Dungeon. About Boyfriend Dungeon before?
I remember hearing something ridiculous, and I tuned it out, and then you reminded me. That's how that went. Okay. That's a weird Mass Effect recommendation, but I can see it working.
Well, the RPG as well as just the art style. I'm a sucker for artistic visual games. I enjoy that.
That one's not very Mass Effect-y art style, but that doesn't really matter for what we're doing.
But it's a unique art style. It's a captivating art style, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. It looks enjoyable to look at, as well as so if you're enjoying the gameplay or stuff like that, then you're also enjoying the visuals, how it just looks.
What is the gameplay in that? Do you know?
Not a clue.
Okay.
But from what it looks like with the pictures, you're moving around in a Pokemon kind of style where it's that kind of viewpoint.
All right, so my game we know actually less about. I'm skipping you, Scott, because you said you had 3, right? So
those were my. You're not skipping over me. I don't have anything to skip to begin with.
I'll just bring this. Like the next game I have doesn't have a title yet, and doesn't have a trailer yet. Has like 3 or 4 screenshots that are really concept art.
Is this Ubisoft's Star Wars game?
No, it is not. Although that's an interesting one. This is a brand new studio, Archetype Entertainment, which is made up of former BioWare people and some guys from Naughty Dog, who are making a sci-fi game, a sci-fi specific RPG, Mass Effect Veterans. We are assembling a world-class team to build a multi-platform role-playing game set in a brand new science fiction universe, trying to create the best science fiction universe possible. Normally, like just other than the pedigree of the BioWare, Naughty Dog, id Software, Santa Monica people, they hired a lead writer. Do you know who the lead writer is?
Drew Karpyshyn.
That is the answer.
Hey, there we go.
Drew Karpyshyn, writer of some of the best sci-fi games of all time. Doesn't that automatically put this on the list, though?
Yeah. Granted, I don't know if I want to open up this can of worms on my thoughts on Archetype games.
Okay. I mean, open it. This is a casual podcast.
Okay. I'm not the biggest fan because I actually, I remember when Archetype Games was announced. I read their full thing. My god, did it just sound like a bunch of fucking angry devs who are trying to say fuck you to BioWare.
That's fine.
Yeah,
they were mad.
Yeah,
I mean, they can say what they want. It's just can they back their words with a decently developed project?
Yeah, one, that, and 2, there's a certain professional, and while I can understand, they can say what they want, I also can say what I want. When I look into that, there's a certain, there's a first, a part
you can say what you want, but there's still consequences for your words, but you still consider you a dick for your words.
Yeah, I look at that, and it's there's a certain just lack of professional decorum when you look at kind of what they've said, and, it is a very vaguely hinted thing of, especially when you read about, we're gonna make sure we have consistent, well thought out development strategies. We're gonna not, go through the corporate BS, and it's, while I can understand where they're kind of coming from, especially with, like, reading some of the interviews on, like, why Drew Karpyshyn left, it makes sense, and I get it, where they're coming from, but my more issue isn't the fact that they have those thoughts, like, oh dear God, I can talk about my employers till the cows come home about how they run things. But I think the problem is, there's a difference between, hey, let's talk about the issues with Company X or Company Y, versus, no, a part of our marketing strategy is pretty much through corporate, through some corporate legalese saying fuck you to another company.
Well, it worked on me.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's also the problem is, the other aspect of it is from the marketing standpoint of, oh, fuck yes, we're gonna be the most passive-aggressive, angriest fucks, and we're gonna use that for our marketing because we know that is gonna get people hyped about our games. Like, from the marketing standpoint, fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I'm more of the lines really ignored that and just looked at the pedigree.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
basically, if you're a Mass Effect fan, you like Drew Karpyshyn stuff. That's it.
Yeah, and I can't really be mad because, especially, like, reading the BioWare books and the Star Wars books, yeah, if Drew Karpyshyn's name is on it, it's gonna be fucking good. Like,
yeah, and you're right about that, but I don't really care about artists squabbling, which is basically what that is.
yeah,
But you are correct. There is more of a tactical thing to that than I thought. I was just thinking, oh, they're just blowing off steam. No, there's probably more to it than that.
yeah, no, there definitely is, and it's just like, I kind of, like, I don't know, there's just, like, a certain amount of professional decorum where it's just like, really, guys?
I still feel like this game's got way too much potential just based on that stuff than to be mad
I'm just
about
hoping,
it.
my big thing is what I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Archetype is the same thing that happened to CD Projekt Red of wherein BioWare kind of started faltering a little bit, especially with Andromeda and Anthem, that everyone looked to CD Projekt Red as, you're the new BioWare! You're gonna be our savior! And like,
CD Projekt Red, their developers were saying the same thing.
I've literally seen articles saying Archetype Entertainment is the new BioWare.
yeah, exactly. And
They haven't made a game yet.
Yeah, and that's my problem, is I'm just that, like, are we seriously gonna do this all over again? We're gonna hype them up as these fucking messiahs, and then when it doesn't match that perfect rating that we're expecting them to get, they're just gonna get shit on, and I don't want them to do that, and I also want them to get out of BioWare's shadow.
I feel like you can't hype up a company that hasn't done anything yet, really.
Yeah,
you can't get overhyped because no one they haven't done anything. What are you excited about? Really?
What is there to? Oh, yeah, that is fair.
Although I'm excited about it, so I guess I just contradicted myself.
The minor details. It's okay. We'll edit it out in post.
No, I'm leaving it in.
A company that has developed games before is Don't Nod Entertainment. They've developed the Life is Strange series, which the new one just was announced a few days ago and is coming out in September.
What is the
actual release date coming out?
Yeah,
actual
September
name,
10th.
Actual company.
Life is Strange: True Colors is the name of the game, but it's kind of like a Telltale style game, choice based, branching narrative and stuff like that. So Mass Effect fans will enjoy that, and it has a solid release date or set release date. Coming out on pretty much everything. It's even coming out on the Stadia.
What?
Which, one of my favorite things about the Stadia is because I worked on that with Bungie, my gamer tag thing on Stadia is Tucker. Like, that is just my tag on it. Makes me so happy. That's cool. Oh, dude, it makes me so happy. I haven't played that thing, though, in whatever my last day at Bungie was.
Really? But, okay, that's not great.
But I still have that name. I hope.
Hopefully. If Stadia still exists by the time you...
Oh, it still exists, but I don't know if they refresh after, users aren't active after a certain amount of time. But I also don't know if there's such a demand for gamer tags to have to do that. Yeah. They're doing their own thing. Just like Don't Nod, who's putting out this new Life is Strange game. And it, each one is its own story or something like that, but from my understanding, they all kind of like, each of these people have different powers, or they all kind of have like telekinetic powers or something like that. So, I want to play Life is Strange. I think I've played the first hour of the first one.
So that's more of like a contemporary fantasy type setting from what I saw, right?
Yeah. I think it's like a young adult, I would say.
The young adult version of superpowers type thing?
Well, I mean, I'm
I
thinking
don't
like
know
a young
how to
adult
classify
novel.
that, so...
I'm thinking of like a young adult novel. It feels like it's something like that. Like it's, is she in college or is she just in a boarding school? She's just in a boarding school, I think, in the first one. And
in Life is Strange?
Yeah.
No, she's at a public high... They're in high school, I know that much.
Yeah, but I thought that they were at like a boarding high school.
Nope.
Or did...
Nope, just a normal one.
I don't have much memory of that game, but I do remember that the characters were kind of young-ish, and it just was feeling the theme of a young adult novel kind of story, but...
That is kind of one thing I'm kind of surprised on, is that there's not a lot of games that go for the young adult genre, Like, sure, there are games that are rated for it, but I have always found it strange that there's not a lot of video games that try to aim for that demographic.
I'm trying to think of something and I'm not succeeding, so... But that may be because there's enough games and I don't pay attention to those.
Yeah. Well, and what I mean by young adult, generally young adult is generally, you're talking the ages of like...
I'm thinking like Harry Potter,
13, 14,
Twilight, Percy Jackson.
Yeah. Where
So
you're trying
Tucker's
to target...
Harry Potter game counts then, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
Like I said,
because...
I didn't say that games that target the young adult genre, demographic don't exist. I'm saying there's not a lot of them. And because like if you think about it, like generally young adult is generally considered around 13, 14-ish to 18, right? It's that, you are starting to really become an adult.
I guess because people in that range are still playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And so on, even though those are developed for adult, like those are developed for over 18, it still sells well enough with them that it doesn't need to be a...
Yeah, and that's kind of the one thing that I've always found is interesting is that, generally they don't have that, but there's so much overlap. Like, they'll probably like the stuff that's, targeted towards 12 or 11-year-olds or for more adult audiences, 18 plus and above. Ironically enough, you kind of see the same thing in the animated industry. Western animation. We're not bringing anime into it, but you kind of see the same thing. Where just like, again, you don't get a lot of that young adult. You either get like young kids shows or you get full adult themes. You don't really get much of an in-between.
I wonder if that's because if like Tucker said, they're already playing games like Call of Duty, you don't really need to specifically target that audience. Because if you come out with a young adult themed game, I'm going to completely ignore it probably. But if you come out with an adult themed game, you'll get me and potentially the young adult crowd.
Yeah.
Although I also I enjoy playing the Lego games, and those are absolutely marketed more towards kids.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing that I also think is at least a lot of, especially when I think of like TV shows that hit that young demographic, it's actually kind of really hard to write them because when you think about it, the idea of really what makes an adult TV show is generally you can talk about sex can be shown, drugs can be talked about, and kind of shit like that. Like,
I feel like you haven't watched any CW shows recently then. Those are clearly in the young adult, right?
Yeah, but those those ones are also. Oh, here's this.
Yeah.
He's an average high school person. It's like a 25-year-old just cut.
Well, yeah.
Dude.
Well, and that's why I'm talking about like animation, like because it's weird. Like in live action, oh yeah, you see young adult stuff left, right, and center. Books, a shit ton of young adult books. But it's just so weird that there's just some genres where it's like video games and animation. Again, excluding anime on that one.
Yeah, you got to say Western animation specifically, I think.
Yeah,
right?
and I mean,
I
guess
a small
maybe,
sliver of animation, really.
I guess an aspect of it could be the entertainment field itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of fun to watch drama, and where is there more drama than high school? And like that kind of area or thing like that.
See, it's funny,
So
the first
it's
thing that
fun
pops into
to
my mind
watch.
is fucking novellas. And it's like, nah, if you want to see dramas, watch a fucking novella. That's a goddamn drama. That's a drama show right
like
there.
the CW shows or things like that. They're dramatized events and it's dramatic, and it's like, oh, they did what? He cheated on who? Kind of like stuff like that. But you don't want to play a game like that. You don't want to be like, no,
I'm sure someone
the character
does.
got cheated on.
Like one show.
So, well, games are like more of a, I want to have a fun, enjoying, like, kind of aspect. They're there for a different kind of experience than if they were to watch a TV show or read a book.
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
Yeah. Well, like,
that you're going for.
one good example, like, to me, like, almost like the quintessential, what I would consider, like, the best example of young adult Western animation show is, it's a show called Young Justice.
Good show.
Oh yeah, fucking amazing show. And I think it kind of shows what it takes to be a young adult animation, and I just don't think in Western culture, one, it's profitable enough to pull off most of the time. Like, I think one of the big reasons why it's successful is because it is a DC comic property. And that there are recognizable characters throughout,
Probably the only reason I watched it.
Yeah. But, like, one of the big things is, like, it kind of shows, like, yeah, you can have adult themes in the show, and there's a shit ton of them, but they also talk about really dark, really heavy subject matter, that is incredibly nuanced and things like that, that is kind of a little bit hard to write, but yet at the same time you can't go full adult on it, but you also have to know, like, okay, I can't, we can't cherry coat this, we can't gloss over it, but, like, we kind of have to tackle these really heavy themes, as you're going through. Like, things like, loss. Oh dear God, that show probably tackles the subject of loss better than almost any show that I've seen. But that's a hard thing to pull off. And I don't know if many writers could do it, or if they could, would it be worth the effort? Then
I'm not sure. I mean, it really depends on what you're going through with a...
Yeah. Well, and then there's fucking animes over here who's never had that problem whatsoever, but I think that's mainly a cultural thing.
Oh no!
Tucker, are the police coming
Tucker,
for you?
the police are coming for you! Duck!
Well,
Your squirreling around has finally got you in trouble with the law.
not that fun. There is something going on down there. It's a city. I mean, I live in the city. There are emergency vehicles drive by every, 5 or 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I live, a block away from the fire department, which is kind of cool. It's an international district, and it has, dragons on the side of it.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. So, there's that.
All right, we're running up on... We're going to try to keep these episodes a little bit shorter so I can get 2 on our digital or audio digital version on SoundCloud.
Also want to toss in the Callisto Protocol, just as an exciting game.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure if Mass Effect fans would like it.
Well,
specifically with Mass Effect, but it's a If you like Dead Space,
If you like Dead Space,
or
it's a
horror,
spirit successor to Dead Space. So,
yeah, I'm so excited for that.
but more Mass Effect. It's time for the obscure Mass Effect character of the week. This one was written into accidentallycasual@gmail.com, and I remembered and lost the email. So I don't know who did it, but it took me a long time to get. I went out and got the audio for this. It's the random Citadel AI who steals credits.
If you're sentient, why are you still running the credit theft operation?
If I accumulated enough credits, I intended to have myself installed in a small starship. I would then have made tentative contact with the Geth to ascertain the possibility of partnership.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I say
Actually,
it's a he.
wait a minute. I suggested this character.
That was you?
No, I didn't email it to you. Like, I didn't send the email, but I remember talking about this. Like, yeah, no, don't you remember this character? Yeah, there was the AI and everything. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I mean, if it was you, then that's hilarious, and I forgot.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't send the email, but I remember us talking about it. Like, I think it was like when I first came onto the show, and you told me like, hey, like, do you want to suggest an obscure character? And I suggested that, and you're like, what? I don't remember, and I don't think I have recordings of that. I'm like, well,
And I didn't, so I got him. So I'll give you credit. This one comes from Scott, who I pretended wrote into accidentallycasual@gmail.com to promote the email address.
which, sorry to the person who actually...
What's the AI's name then?
There is no name.
Oh, there's no name?
There's no name, right? I mean, like, I don't. There's no name. It's just an AI who was written by somebody who died, and then the AI continued on the scheme and had a plan to install itself in a jet ship and go make contact with the Geth. And then it blew itself up, trying to take Shepard with him.
Yep.
Didn't work, though. Very, very poor effort. Although, I guess the AI said, like, I have no options.
I would say the plan was solid, execution was flawed.
By the way, if you're more interested in more talk, Tucker and I are going to be streaming Mass Effect multiplayer this Saturday, the 20th. In case you're listening to this later, we are in March, right? March 20th, 2021.
What do you mean?
Hold on, not 20th. Whoa, buddy.
27th.
You know that
27th.
The 20th
There we
already
go.
happened.
See, that confused me too. 'cause
Sorry,
could've
I was looking at my
sworn
calendar and I had something
You
crossed
said the
out.
20th.
It's the 27th.
And
Thank you.
Minius, on the 20th, I wanted to let you know I was excited and I was expecting us to stream, and I didn't get any message or anything from you, and I was just kind of heartbroken.
Oh, sorry. We could have done that.
Oh.
But this one in particular, I'll have a video on my channel saying the exact correct date. Hopefully. I'll have to redo the video.
What are we going to stream?
What's up?
What are we going to stream?
At 5 p.m. Pacific time? And
Well, yeah, but
we're all
what
going.
are we?
What are we? We're Mass Effect multiplayer.
It's just you and I?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's bold.
It's bold and it's not going to go well. So you can watch it.
But you can come and ask questions.
Yeah, it would be kind of like a Mass Effect Q&A or channel Q&A, podcast Q&A. Q&A. Stream.
Hey, I worked in QA.
Probably a little bit different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, very much. We didn't. It wasn't like we weren't answering quite. Well, we were. It was. Why is this broken?
Why is this?
Why is this broken?
Why is this broken?
Bizarrely enough, that is going to be how the stream goes.
Honestly, though,
Probably.
the pinnacle of
I'm gonna
QA
be-
humor is seeing something broken and go, ship it.
I want to see Tucker pick another Vanguard and dive off across the map and die, and have no one come get him.
I will let chat pick my characters
Oh, Jesus Christ.
with zero experience with any of these characters that I'm playing as.
You probably won't have enough characters to do like the character. I have all the characters on the PlayStation 3, and all the guns and all that kind of stuff, and there are characters I want to use but don't have on the Xbox, so it bums me out. How many Volus do you have?
I think
one
at least.
Yeah, I think I just have one. How many do you have? Flex on us.
I mean, on the other character, I think there are 3. Now I gotta remember because I'm different. But anyway, catch some of you Saturday. Depending on how these go, we'll do it more often. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so this has been episode number 32. Jeez. Of the Accidentally Casual Gaming Podcast. By the way, we all have YouTube channels. They're in the description box. We're also all on Twitter. I'm at Minius GC, Tucker's at IP Tucker, and Scott is at BioWare B. And if you want to chat with other Accidentally Casual fans, there's a link to the Discord in the description box as well. But catch us next week.
Yeah.
All right, I better just start us, otherwise we're going to go on like this for a while.
Send it.
Hold on. Okay. You are listening to Accidentally Casual, the gaming podcast. We're nerdiest. Isn't I got to start over again.
No.
That's at the end.
You tried so hard and just hit a wall.
Keep going with it.
I'm not. This is.
You tried so good.
You are listening to Accidentally Casual, the gaming podcast.